Alright guys, as you can see, we are in the truck today, and today is not a truck video. Today is actually going to be a Corvette video. As you guys can see in these couple pictures right here, the Corvette is on a tow truck being towed. You guys might be wondering, well, where are we towing it? Well, I'm towing it up to PCM in North Carolina, and basically the reason I decided to tow it was due to the fact that, you know, I only got a couple tunes from them when we were trying to street tune it, and it drives, it's okay for test drives, but you know, having to drive almost 40 minutes to an hour to get up to PCM to go get a chassis dynoed, I was like, you know, just to be more cautious and to be, you know, not breaking down on the interstate, I just decided to have it towed. So the Corvette is getting towed up there. It does run, you know, like we did our initial logging and all that stuff, but like I said, it's not running well enough for me to be comfortable with driving it an hour, you know, if that makes sense. So, you know, it's on its way. Probably like 150 bucks for the tow, which is fine. I don't really care. If you guys look at the bed, we have a couple jugs of race fuel, and that race fuel is E85. So I'm gonna have them tune it for 93, and then we're gonna have them do a E85 tune. Now guys, I don't know if the injectors and the pump with the bigger blower, the cam, and all that stuff, I don't know if any of that stuff's going to be able to keep up to even run E85. So that's kind of the big question mark. It's like, well, are we good enough? Are we not good enough? I think last time I had the 2300 on there with the old motor, I think we were at like 80% duty cycle on the injectors. Maybe it was 70. So I know we've got some room there, but I just don't know if the 2650 is going to require that much more fuel. That camshaft, like I said, we have a little bit of a bigger motor because, you know, the motor is bored 5 thousandths over, so the pistons are a little bit bigger. Yes, I just don't know if we're going to be able to do a complete E85 tune. So I'm going to have them do the 93 tune first, and then if we've got the room, if we've got the pump and injectors, we'll do E85. Alright guys, we've just dropped off the Corvette. You guys can see it over there, and we're at PCM. So they're gonna have the car for the next week or so, and we'll pick it up when it's done. As you guys can see, we're in a Silverado again. This is not a Silverado update. This is continuing the Corvette dyno video. Unfortunately, we had an issue with the oil cooler, so the driver's side oil cooler is leaking. I don't know if I put a screw or bolt through one of the hoses. I don't know if one of the fittings are loose or what's going on. So basically, you know, PCM said, hey, you know, this thing's leaking. We don't have a mechanic that is free right now that can look at it. And the other issue we ran into is the throttle body is, when it opens 100%, it's throwing a code. With the E40 ECM, there's no way to program that out. They have to physically send the throttle body out to Nick Williams, have him do some kind of machining to it to basically prevent it from going past 95%, which is fine. I'm not too worried about that last 5% on the throttle body. So yeah, so kind of 2 for 1 on this one. I'm basically going to take off the throttle body. We're going to leave the car there, and then we're going to actually remove the Improved Racing oil cooler billet block. So you guys saw us install that in the previous video. So what I'm going to do is basically just remove that cooler block, put the billet piece that I bought out from Amazon a while ago, put that back on, and we're just going to bypass the cooler setup for right now. Obviously that's not great for temperatures on the dyno, but you know, I just want the car to be done. I don't have time to tear the whole front cooling system all apart just to find out where the leak is. When the car is done, when the chassis video is done, you know, we will pick that up in a future video. So alright guys, we're wrapped up here at PCM. I got that oil cooler block off plate installed. I also got the throttle body removed, like I said. And yeah, so we should be good with everything that they need. And they're gonna take that throttle body, go get machined, whatever they need to do over at Nick Williams, and we'll go from there. So alright guys, we are back home, and as you guys can see behind me, the Corvette is here. We are all in one piece. And so we've got good news, we've got bad news. Good news, car's been fully tuned, everything's good to go. We didn't have any more issues on the dyno. We just have had issues ever since the dyno. And so anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video and show you the dyno sheet here. So as you guys can see, the car basically made 800 horsepower right at 6,200 RPM. And then if you guys look at that torque curve, it made 755 foot-pounds of torque right at 4,300 RPM. So real good numbers on the car. And guys, there's more left on this car. We can go down 2 more sizes. And we also, that was on pump gas 93. That was not on E85. So we were not able to tune E85. And that's going to kind of lead us into our bad news. I'm going to display some HP tuners data right here. As you can see in the left hand of the screen, there are a couple things we want to show you. First, the kilopascals per hour, so basically the PSI. It's 239 kPa. That roughly translates to about 20 PSI. It's like 19.99, something like that. So roughly 20 PSI of boost. Then if you guys look on the graph, you guys will see the injector duty cycles at 80%. So we're already at 80% of injector duty cycle on these FIC 1000s. Yeah, there's no way we're gonna be able to run E85. We got plenty of fuel pump. You know, we're good there. It's just the injectors are the wrong size. So we've got a couple upgrades to do in the future. That's injectors. We've got some other stuff we were gonna do, but we'll do that in a future video. And then more bad news is, guys, on the way home, I don't know why the car decided to do this, but once I hit traffic, I wasn't in too bad of a traffic, but the temperature kept rising on the engine coolant temperature. If we look back at the dyno sheet, you know, the car was at like 187 degrees on the dyno at 6,300 RPM. So, you know, not really sure what's going on with there, but on the way home, the car overheated. And one of the reasons I think that happened is because I was only running one cooling fan. I thought that was gonna be all that was needed. I plugged in the second cooling fan, and then I turned the heat on full blast, 90 degrees. The car instantly cooled down 30 degrees. So I don't think it's an airflow problem. I think that it's the fact that I didn't have that second fan plugged in, and that's why the car overheated. So it cooled down, was able to drive home, no big issue there. And so that basically leads to our overall problem of having some electrical gremlins. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. If I leave the fans plugged in, if I leave the intercooler pump plugged in, and if I leave the headlights plugged in, because these Morimotos use a tappet fuse to get signal to it, the DRLs, the intercooler pump, and the cooling fan will run for no less than 5 minutes. Guys, I timed this 3 times. I don't know why it's doing that. It shouldn't be doing that. It never happened before when we had the old Edelbrock kit on here. The only thing I can think of is there are 2 wires that I terminated to run the LS9 alternator, because this is a PWM. It's pulse width modulated. And if I have that alternator unplugged, it only makes 13 volts. But obviously you want 14.5 to almost 15 volts. If I have that alternator adapter box, the box here below the MSD relay, that runs perfectly fine. You know, it runs, it's telling the alternator to make, you know, almost 15 volts, and it's fine. So yeah, we've got a lot of small stuff to resolve. The coolant issue, the electrical issue, and the oil issue, the oil cooler issue that we showed you earlier in the video. And yeah, so a lot of small stuff. Once we get that resolved, the car will be good to go. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. I know, guys, this has been a long video series. I know this video has been delayed a couple weeks, but I appreciate you guys sticking around. If you guys want to see more Corvette updates, more ZR2 updates, more shop updates, hit that subscribe button, turn on your bell notifications. If you guys want to help support the channel, check out all the links down below, and make sure you check out PCM North Carolina. I want to give thanks to Kelly, Mark, and Alvin. They helped get the car up and running. I had some issues, but no major issues. The car's tuned, and it runs way better than it did when we were trying to data log it and tuning it over the phone. So that's be it. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.